Welcome back, travelers. Today we're talking about Teyo again. And well, this one is kind of long, so I'm just going to try and skim through some of the stuff. I did mention some other things that happened here already, so that we wouldn't have to talk about them now. So let's see what happens with Teyo. This chapter picks up exactly where Teyo's last one stopped. Basically, he wakes up. He's like, "Oh snap, I'm dead, aren't I? What's going on?" And he looks around and he sees all the stuff, and it says, I think he sees the sun. Yeah. He goes, "I'm alive! What? How? When? Where? Why?" And just like stone everywhere, and it's not desert and diamond and death. So basically he's there, he's looking around, he sees that there's one sun in the air, which is weird because he's basically from Tatooine. He's got like a diamond wound where it's still bleeding, so he's like disoriented. There's people everywhere, and no one really realizes what's going on yet because it's just kind of like, what? And he basically sees this girl, and she is this. She's just I think you described her basically as looking as eccentric as possible. Yeah, she is about. She's saw a bronze-skinned, dark-haired girl sitting on an iron railing, regarding him with curiosity. She appeared to be about 16, and her garb was truly bizarre, decorated with patches of fur and tusks, ribbons and bells hanging from her shoulders, her tunic cinched with braided vines of leaves and berries. So, literally in that one scene right there, they have her, like, described as having the tusk bits like a gruel person, green-red, and then having bells and ribbons like red-black, the Rakdos, and then having vines and leaves and berries, so she's green-white, like Selesnya. So, she don't know what she is. She doesn't know if she's red-green, like she, well, I guess we'll get more into her character. But, basically, Teyo's there, he's like, "Where am I?" She goes, "You're on the Transguild Promenade." What do you mean? He goes, no, we're like, where on Gobakon am I? She goes, "Oh, this is Ravnica." And he's like, "What's a Ravnica?" And she talks about how there's these guilds, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we have like carpenters guilds. That's got to be the same thing, right?" And she's like, "No, these are extremely different. And these are all those guilds that I talked about earlier with Ral and Kaya and all of them." And so she basically describes how there's 10 guilds. Each of them have their own different things that they work on, and they're always trying to kill each other because why not? And I think she even says that, yeah, her name is Araitha, though it could be Araitia if they decide to do it like that. People call her Rat, as in the like a mouse, a rat. And she's completely fine with that. She's fine with Rat. And so basically her character, she was born Gruul. She was born red-green in the jungles and all that stuff. Not the jungles, the rubble belts and all that fun stuff, just destruction and explosions. And either in her mind she would be red-green, or she would either go more red and choose to go red-black, or more white with green-white. They're both allies, not literally allies, but color allies with red-green. They're the two things on the other sides of it. So it's interesting as far as her character goes that she is like on that little side of the wheel. And I like that. She considers herself gateless. She hasn't decided which of those three that she's going to join up with. Which does make sense for her character as well. I highly doubt that she would be green-white simply because of how chaotic and, well, just her she is. But Rakdos doesn't seem right either. So I am interested in seeing if they can take her character somewhere in the rest of the novel. I guess we'll have to find out. So, she's talking. He's wondering why she's talking so much. And she just keeps going on and on and on and on. She keeps going on. But she's basically just informing him of all the stuff that's going on, making sure that the reader has an idea, a grasp of how Ravnica works. Ral is the leader of the Azet. Vraska is the leader of the Golgari. Kaya is the leader of the Orzhov, sort of, not really. Rat decides to adopt Teyo, because of course she does. He just kind of goes along with her. He's captivated by her, and can't really decide anything else to do. She describes all the different kinds of creatures that live here: gorgons, elves, dragons, centaurs, minotaurs, cyclopes. She says cyclops, but a cyclops would be more accurate. But you get the idea. There's everything here. It's amazing. She says she's sweet. He goes, "I am," and she goes, "I think so. I like you already. I'm glad I adopted you." And he's like, "What?" Okay, sure. In case you guys couldn't tell, this is supposed to be the subplot of a romance in this novel. Yeah. She mentions Hesperia, who is a blue-white sphinx, the leader of the, well, former leader of the Azorius, and how Vraska killed her. And he's like, what? And now they're talking about how there's going to be an evil dragon on the way, because Rat is has been friends with Rauzarek and Kaya and all of them, basically just following them around. And she knows that there's an evil dragon coming, but she doesn't know much beyond that. They round the corner, and oh my gosh, look, it's an evil dragon! And so they realize that's probably the bad guy. They should probably deal with it, and they probably will. She does mention Jace Bellerin being the living guild pact and how his word is magical law. Multiple people have that exact same phrase. If that's like, was his campaign thing or something, like, hey, I'm the guild pact, my word is magical law. Like, I don't really get why they reference it like several times by different characters in that same way. It's very specific. But I guess it might be hardwired into the ravnicans and the way these things work. But it's interesting for Teyo basically to be thrown into this alien world that a lot of people who are reading will already be pretty well associated with, and he sticks with Rat throughout this novel so that she can explain those things to him. She can basically be like his guide. One thing I will note here, since she was just introduced, Rat is not a planeswalker. She is a native of the of Ravnica, which is why she considers herself to be gateless. She does not want to be a part of any of the groups yet. She hasn't decided which one she's going to commit to, and I could see her just being red-green gateless because her character is very red-green, but does not fit the Gruul ideology. Rat also has the ability basically to, or curse, depends on how you look at it. She can't be recognized by most people. Not so much that they can't tell who she is, but that she does not actually exist to them. She has this illusion, permanent invisibility ability that unless you know she's there, are focusing on the spot where she is and are listening for her, you will not be able to see, hear, or even sense her, which is really, really weird, but also a very interesting idea, a very interesting ability that honestly I had never thought of giving a character. So that's a point for Wizards, having come up with that for a design of a character who has no control of their invisibility, which would also work with red-green, meaning that she would probably have hexproof. You'd have to be her ally to actually see her. Maybe red-green unblockable, red-green can only block by certain things, stuff like that. It's very specific, and I feel like if they made her a legendary creature, a red-green one would be really cool for her. All that said, that pretty much sums up this particular chapter. There is a ton of other stuff in here that's kind of basically useless and not really necessary. Basically just to hammer home how quirky Rat is. If you guys have any comments on this particular video, please leave them. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. And I'll see you guys in the next episode, where we'll talk about Jace Bellerin. He's finally at Ravnica. The living guild pact has arrived at Ravnica. It's about time. I guess we'll see how that goes. But until then, travel well.